So I got asked the question, what do I do when I get injured or whatnot, or if I do? I do. I'm one of those guys who I don't feel like you're training hard enough unless you're kind of on the edge of tweaking something. Uh, However, I'm also the guy who grew up with the "Are you hurt or are you injured?" question. So usually I'll push myself harder than I should and end up, hurting more than I should. Um, So, for instance, right now I've kind of worked myself into a position where I've got a spot in my upper back shoulder that is all sorts of tweaky, and it has gotten to the point where I've had to reduce the amount of weight I'm using to carry through with my workouts, which is about the time I'm like, okay, now I have to do something about it. So usually I'll get adjusted. In this case, I'm getting adjusted 3 or 4 times a week, um, which is great. So, but I have two different chiros I use. So I'll have Bethany adjust me normally, and she does a phenomenal job. And then I've got Dr. Taylor, who's a buddy of mine down the street, who has his own technique that he does for occipital stuff that I really, really like. So I have two different chiros that I use. And then I'll go get dry needling. Big fan of dry needling for any musculature issue. If you guys have knots or balls or things like that, like getting a massage is great. I've gotten 2 massages in the past week. That's a fantastic way to do it. But man, dry needling is spectacular for that. If you guys have not gotten dry needling, get somebody who knows what they're doing. It's pretty awesome. Dr. Fort does that for me down at ACE PT. And so those two things are pretty big. Lots and lots of stretching. And then I'll go through my normal workout with less weight, slower, longer range of motion, really try to get that thing worked out. The idea that you should stop using a muscle if it's sore. If it's torn, it's a little bit different story, but if it's just balled up and sore, lots of times a super exaggerated range of motion, really slow, really big and opening, helps out quite a bit. I'm also using Clo, which is the BPC 157, TV 500, GHK copper, and KPV. So I'll put it like at the top of the trap, and then I'll put it back like where the little knot is. And that helps a ton. And then just to make sure I'm healing as fast as I can, I'm using Samorelin, Ipamorelin, which is a growth hormone agonist that helps your body produce more growth hormone, which is designed to help your body heal, regenerate, and repair. It increases HGH, which then goes to the liver because my liver's clean. I do have so much stuff in my liver. We end up getting more IGF-1 production so that we can actually heal, regenerate, and repair things. I also make sure that I'm getting extra sleep. So normally I'll get 6 or so hours of sleep, and that's gets me my hour and so REM, hour and so deep. But then I'll just make sure I'm getting extra sleep. I'm not sleeping so like on the shoulder. I'm not sleeping directly on that shoulder. So that's typically the way that I'll do it. It's not generating enough pain to require something pain-wise during the day. The Clo is always really beneficial for that regardless. But that's typically what I will do when I've got something messed up is I'll hit it really hard. Usually because like most people, I wait longer than I should to start jumping on it. But that's typically what I'll do for me. And the nice thing is that I can kind of judge where it is and where it's going. Lots and lots of active motion stretching is a big one as well. So if you guys, going into the whole, new year, new me type of thing for a lot of you guys, you're going to end up getting sore. You're going to be getting hurt. Soreness, like you haven't worked out in a while. Turmeric is a great one for that. The supplement I designed for liver clearance for fibromyalgia that we also use for blocking hangovers, the Tomorrow Effects, is probably my favorite for just general inflammation, stuff like that. Coffee enemas are going to be phenomenal for that as well. Again, the more you can help the liver, feed the liver, clean the liver, the more the liver can clean the blood and the lymph. And so that's going to be a massive piece to jump on as far as getting just general soreness gone. But when you do tweak stuff, make sure you get in, day one, like if you tweak it in the gym today, and you're like, oh, it's tweaky. You wake up the next day and it's pretty good. And 2 days later, it's gone. That's fine. Don't really worry that much about that. Keep it in mind because if you're like, hey, my right shoulder gets tweaky every Friday and I do shoulders on Thursday. Oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong with my workout. Keep that in mind. But if it's something that goes away in a day or two, that's fine. If it comes back, again, look at it. If you've got something that gets worse on the second day or is there 3 days in, go get that looked at. Go have somebody reset that. Man, nothing's going to just derail your progress in the new year or any type of new workout, like getting hurt, getting injured, getting sore, getting something like that, that's going to give you a reason not to keep going. Massive, massive, massive thing. So like I would just go ahead, if you're going to set up for a new workout group, a new workout plan, you're going to go to a new gym, you're going to start working out, I would just go ahead and be like, all right, I'm going to find a chiro, I'm going to find a good massage therapist, I'm going to find somebody who does dry needling, like, and most of your good chiros should know somebody who does all this stuff. Most of your actual athletic chiros know all these guys because we use them. But that's the thing. This is why I tell people no athlete should see a non-athlete doctor. I mean, like I know all the orthopedic surgeons in the area. I know all of the I know all the training guys. I know all the specialty people. I know all everything that's involved in fixing a body like mine because this is what I do. So it's just kind of one of those things. But it's one of those things. Get a good chiro, start getting adjusted before you start your workout program. Start getting some of the massage stuff. Start getting these things worked through. Start drinking your water ahead of time. Start your diet a little early. Start working on your sleep a little bit early. All these things are super duper important. We're going to do next week. We're going to start a whole new year, new you thing. So we can kind of go through and be like, here are the things you guys need to look for, and here are the things you guys need to kind of watch out for as you go through. But that's kind of one of those big things. That's what I do when I get hurt, or when I tweak myself or push too hard in the gym. So if you guys are, thinking about that, or you guys are, I always, tweak my knee or tweak this or tweak that, definitely get things working. One of the nice things, and if you have not worked out in a long time, or if you've never been a gym guy or gym woman, get a trainer. Like, it is so worth the money. Get somebody who knows what they're doing, because, if your knee tracks to the right or to the left, or, if your hips drop, or if when you're doing curls, your shoulder drops down. If you're new to this, you don't know what's going on. You don't know that that's going to create damage long-term. You don't know that 3 weeks from now, your hand's going to go numb or something like that. So get somebody who can watch your form and be like, hey, here's what you're doing right. Here's what you're doing wrong. Because it's a hypercritical thing. Like, once you've done it for a little bit and you know what's going on, you don't need the trainer necessarily almost at all. Getting a lifting partner is a great idea, but just making sure that you know what you're doing as you get into this is really, really, really important. Get yourself a team and make sure that the biggest piece, I know I'm getting ahead of what we're doing next week, but the biggest piece of any of these things, gaining muscle, losing fat, doing these things, is being consistent. And so the number one thing you've got to work on is your mindset. You've got to get to the point where you're like, hey, I'm about to go through a lot of suck, and I welcome the suck, because the suck is what gives me character and gives me determination and builds me into the person I'm supposed to be. And, I'm going to welcome this, and I'm going to understand the change I'm going through. That's the number one thing, because it's going to be sore. You're going to be tired. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to not want to eat the thing, or whatever it is. And you just got to decide, no, I've decided I'm going to do a thing. And so I'm building my mental toughness as much as I'm building my physical strength. So those are some of the things to keep in mind. Get out ahead of things. Don't let things get ahead of you. And that'll help out a ton. So next week we'll do some mindset stuff, and we'll go through kind of everything else, like things I would tell you to do if you were, kind of a beginner or intermediate to some of this stuff. We'll go through some peptide work and some hormone stuff. But these are the things that, next week, like I said, it'll be, here are the things we need to do to make sure that we're going where we're supposed to go. And newsflash, I'm going to 100% tell you, you guys need to find group training classes. You guys need to find lifting partners. You guys need to find good coaches. You guys need to find people who helps motivate you, and however you need to be motivated. But we'll talk about motivation stuff Monday. So you guys have a fantastic weekend, and thanks for your time.